Buckeyes are preparing for battle, and you're preparing to listen to them. Equally important, this is the Fan Warm-Up Show.
Presented by the Ohio State Army ROTC. Decide to lead today.
Happy College Basketball Sunday, everybody. Brandon Beam, Jacob Reimer here, snow-filled Columbus, Ohio. Today's test takes you up to East Lansing, Michigan. Well, you will play on the road the number 15 ranked Michigan State Spartans. Tail of the tape between these two programs. Ohio State coming off of probably their biggest win of the season, and let's take the probably out of it, against Wisconsin in the midweek. They came home. They felt awesome about themselves after that Virginia debacle, and you really didn't know what you were going to get out of Ohio State against Wisconsin. And then you got the news that John Mobley Jr. was not going to be playing in that game. It was like, what's going to go on here? What's happening? And then you go out and, again, probably have your most comprehensive victory of the entire season to date. On the other hand, the Michigan State Spartans, they entered the game 21-5. They are currently 11-4 in the Big Ten. They've kind of been on the Ohio State roller coaster over their last few games, because if you go back and look, they lost 83-71 at home against Michigan. They were on the road, shocking loss at the barn against Minnesota, 76-73. They kind of doubled down on their loss to Michigan right there. Huge bounce back win for them against Illinois. Illinois had a trouble last night at the Pauley Pavilion against UCLA.
That game was awesome.
It was. You would be proud of me, Reimer. I was locked into like the last 8 minutes of that game.
Heck yeah.
And then the broadcasters on that call were like, yeah, they were up 33-10. Illinois was, and UCLA came all the way back, and then it was really pretty punchy at the end of the game, for sure. And then it got into overtime. Always guard the inbounder. Illinois didn't do that, and then UCLA ran the court in 4.9 seconds.
4.9. Donovan Dent, he's one of the fastest players in college basketball, and got there in 4 dribbles, right at the rim, coast to coast. It was unbelievable.
It was really good. So it was a good finish for them. But they beat UCLA earlier in the week, which kind of caused the Mick Cronin crash out. I would say, ask about his student section. And then they lost to Wisconsin on the road up at the Kohl Center. Ohio State's familiar with that territory. You go back and look at the Buckeyes, again, have not had a losing streak all year, but haven't won back-to-back games since the UCLA home double extravaganza against Minnesota as well. So it's been up and down for this Buckeye team, but again, coming off of that comprehensive victory against Wisconsin, you got to feel pretty good about this game. We'll take you back to that game as well, because knowing that you didn't have John Mobley Jr. and your backs were kind of up against the wall, what needed to happen? Devin Royal coming off of probably his worst performance as a Buckeye in that Virginia game down in Nashville. How was he going to answer the bell? Well, he gave you 34 minutes, and he also gave you a boatload of points in that game. 25 for Devin Royal. Bruce Thornton went crazy in the second half. He's 6 away right now from going second all-time in Ohio State history, and it was just a beautiful performance in the second half by this Ohio State team against Wisconsin, and a win that they really, really needed to have. And I'm hoping, and I know that a wise man once told me that hope is not a strategy, but that win at home, when you were up and the lead never crumbled, and you didn't really even let Wisconsin flirt about being back in that basketball game, I'm hoping that can kind of springboard you into today's performance at a very tough place up at the Breslin Center against Sparty.
Yeah, it's never easy to win on the road in the Big Ten, especially when you're up at the Breslin Center, because that place can get really loud, but it's a classic Tom Izzo team. They're really good defensively, really strong. They get after it, and they force some turnovers. And they're pretty big on the inside with Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper. They are 3rd in the Big Ten in total rebounding, 2nd in the Big Ten in offensive rebounding. But I've been saying that they're gettable because I don't trust their shooting. And I would like to see Ohio State maybe pack it in a little bit, guard inside the 3, and just focus on crashing the glass hard. Send all 5 guys there and get that rebound, and not let Michigan State get any second chance opportunities, because they are good at shooting when it's off of an offensive rebound. Okay. And that's how that's the best shot in basketball, honestly, is off. That's the best time to get a 3 is off an offensive rebound. That's what gave Illinois
the lead last night in overtime.
Exactly.
And they were awesome on the offensive glass last evening.
Yeah, and that's I think Illinois is right there above Michigan State. So, yeah. Ohio State competed with Illinois earlier in the year.
They did.
And you've got Jeremy Fears from Michigan State today. He leads the country in assists, but I think it's going to come down to what happens on the defensive end.
Technical fouls for him.
Oh.
Does he lead the country in that?
He might be up there.
Yeah.
He's definitely leading the country in trips. That's for sure.
I know that. Yeah, he's a little bit fiery. But you know what? They did a really good job, Ohio State did, against Wisconsin on the rebound tally, because I think they out-rebounded Wisconsin, by 8 or so?
Yeah,
and
that
then
sounds
going
right.
into that last game, that was kind of your derailment against Virginia. We knew that they were a really good offensive rebounding team.
Yep.
They were doing great on the glass until that last 8-9 minute stretch, and then they kind of let it crumble late against Virginia. So should be a fun one up at the Breslin Center today. Speaking of that, let's head up to the lovely East Lansing, Michigan, and check in with our great friend Ron Stokes.
It's time to go inside the Buckeyes with OSU basketball analyst and former captain Ron Stokes.
Ron, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. Happy Sunday to you, Paul, and Skip. I know that you guys are going to have a good time up there. It is a tough place to go and play on the road, Ron. The Breslin Center, you're very familiar with that building, but I'm hoping that Ohio State can kind of get springboarded off of their performance that we saw in the middle of the week against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I thought one of the keys, or a number of the keys in the game to win against Wisconsin, it was a second game without John Mobley Jr., so it was a chance for Taysom Chapman, along with the other teammates of John Mobley, to get adjusted to playing without him, because he is so dynamic on the offensive end and being a facilitator. You know, the first game, Virginia, you're away from Columbus, and you had to deal with that along with a very solid Virginia team. But you come back to Columbus, you're not going to have John Mobley Jr., so the preparation for Taysom Chapman, I'm going to be a starter, this is what I need to do. And I thought that, along with what they did defensively against the backcourt of Wisconsin, was one of the most impressive things I've seen by this team the entire year.
Yeah, one of the hottest backcourts in America, right, at the time. And I think they scored 28 points. Were not that efficient. Bruce Thornton almost outscored them personally. We'll get to Bruce in a second, Ron. We know that John Mobley Jr. is out today. Questionable Amari Bynum, Devin Royal. Are you expecting those guys to suit up here this afternoon in East Lansing?
Yeah, they'll both play.
Okay.
They were in uniform. They're out there shooting around right now. Yes, dealing with the all the things that goes into the entire year, illness and little aches and pains, but they're ready to play, and they're going to be out there today.
I thought if there was one positive, and I'm not saying that there's any positive of John Mobley Jr. being out of the lineup, Ron, but Taysom Chapman has really emerged off the bench, and now he's getting some big-time minutes, and I would expect today that he's also going to get some big-time minutes. I mean, this is a guy who's been around Ohio State for a little bit of time, Ron, but he really hasn't played, that much with his prior injuries. So if there's any positive that can come out, I think you're going to need Taysom Chapman when John Mobley Jr. ultimately returns. I think this is great experience for him to feel like what it is to be a starter in the Big Ten, and I'm looking forward to see what Taysom can do on the road today.
Yeah, any coach in America will tell you that injuries are a part of the game. And when someone goes out, yes, you miss their scoring, their productivity. But to your point, it's an opportunity for someone to step up, gain valuable experience. And then when that other player comes back, now you can benefit from both of those things, right? So I think when you look at Taysom Chapman, he was coming on prior to the injury of John Mobley Jr. So it's a pleasant thing to see that Coach Diebler can go to the bench and knows that he can get some type of offensive productivity. Now he's a starter for right now, and it definitely helps in the absence of John Mobley Jr. But when John Mobley Jr. comes back, now you put Taysom Chapman on the bench, and that definitely increases your bench productivity.
What's a key of victory for you, Ron? Tough environment, loud student section, the whole place, right? Primetime game, 1 o'clock, you get the national TV. A key for you for this Ohio State team is going to be what if they want to leave East Lansing with a victory today?
Well, when you play a Coach Izzo team, it's like a broken record, right? You gotta match the backboards. They're going to transition, although they're not as the vintage Michigan State team that's out in transition. But clearly, you got to make sure that you protect the backboards. They love to attack and beat you on the offensive glass. And you said something earlier that I think is very important. They're not the best from shooting from beyond the arc. So I would expect for Ohio State to force them to beat them from the outside. So if they're not hitting their shots from the outside, that clearly increases Ohio State's chances of winning this ballgame.
Does Bruce Thornton go second all time today, Ron? It's like this is a softball to you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's playing some of his best basketball, and you just got to love this kid and what he's done. 4 years as a player here at Ohio State, over 2,000 points, and all the other things he's done. Man, what an incredible career. It's not over yet.
No, it's not.
But, boy, so far so good.
Absolutely. Hopefully he has a big performance today up at the Breslin Center. Ron, always appreciate the time. Thanks for hopping on. Looking forward to the call with you, Paul, and Skip here to take us through the afternoon, all right?
All right, go Bucks.
There goes Ron Stokes. We'll talk to him again Wednesday night leading into the game at Carver Hawkeye Arena against Iowa. Reimer, this one's been circled on the calendar for you since like December. We've been talking about it all week long. You think this is a gettable Michigan State team?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big opportunity. Like you said, primetime, CBS. It doesn't get much better than that. And Diebler was talking earlier in the week that he loves these type of games. Late in February, you're on CBS. You got the big guys on the call. It's going to be a lot of fun up in East Lansing.
Quad 1 victory
Yes.
up for grabs today. Everyone have an awesome afternoon. We'll be back for postgame. Buckeyes Spartans up next right here on The Fan.
You've been listening to the Fan Warmup Show.
Presented by the Ohio State Army, ROTC. Decide to lead today.
Stay tuned for Buckeye basketball on your flagship home for